Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Variance powered by FantasyPedia. FantasyPedia is the one-stop shop for everything related to FPL, whether it's captaincy decisions to transfer suggestions. FantasyPedia helps Fantasy Premier League managers make optimal decisions for their teams. Make sure to follow FantasyPedia on Twitter for regular updates. And we are back. I am Zeeshan, your co-host, and I have with me Mihir and Anshuman for another episode. How's it going, guys? Let's start with you, Mihir.
It's going great. It's good to be back after one week of no FPL and football. So it's good to be back, albeit we have some postponed games, but it's back to be back again.
Definitely, it's great to be back. Anshuman, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be back. It was a good week for me. I hit the wildcard button in the week and a lot of tinkering happening there. So it's always a good week when you wildcard.
It is, and that's one of our major topics, not just for us, for I think everyone playing FPL. Wildcards are active. People are trying to get the best teams for the upcoming weeks. So we're gonna focus a lot on that. We look at the pros and cons of wildcarding this week. We will also cover premium. So as always, Mo Salah is in the discussion. People can't stop talking about him. Should you keep Mo Salah or should you take him out and go no Salah? We will also look at some of suggestions if you're taking Salah out. But yeah, let's start with the big fish. Let's start with the hot topic. Anshuman, you said you've got your wildcard active. What are your thoughts and what are your strategies? In terms of picking the right team for your wildcard.
I mean, first I start why I wildcarded because basically my team wasn't adequate enough. I couldn't field a proper 11, even with a hit. So even with a hit, I was able to field only 10 players, in which I had Neko Williams and the likes of certain other players, Andreas, Bailey, etc. So I wasn't very convinced from that team, and I didn't think it is worth taking a -8 for this situation. And my draft, game week 8 wildcard draft and game week 9 wildcard draft weren't that different. So basically, I decided that I should go for it. I shouldn't take the hit, and if there's not much difference that will be made in terms of the drafts, then I think I should hit the wildcard button. I did that. I think there is enough team value, which we haven't gained till now, and enough points coverage to happen. So that was the thought behind it.
It's waiting for us to in game week 9 wildcarders to gain value on Friday now.
Yeah, I mean, the game has certainly changed that rule, I think, where they're not considering the wild card transfers. So it's very likely a lot of people have played it because every night you get notifications that Pope or a Cancelo Martinelli could rise in price, but they're not rising in price.
Yep.
Indeed. So you said that you didn't really want to take a -8 this week, and that was one of the reasons why you played your wild card. Are there any other reasons? Is there a long-term plan that sort of convinced you that yes, this is definitely a great week to wild card?
So the majority of the reason is still that my game week 9 wildcard would have been the same. So if I can still save on 8 points, move ahead the curve, and my plan still remains the same, then why should I take a hit? Rather just go with the flow. I can gain team value, which potentially is still possible, guys, and I would get the players I want for this game week, which is also a blank game week. So I can set up well for game week 8, 9, and go ahead.
That's right. Any particular teams that you're targeting on your wild card?
Newcastle, obviously, we will discuss about that. And Newcastle is a team that I'm targeting, which brings me to our next table. I think we should move on directly to that and discuss the popular topic. So, for everyone, we will be discussing players that I'm considering on my wildcard, but also players that the community has been considering on wildcard, whether you should get them or not, why should you avoid them or get them. And yeah, that brings us to our attacking table. Just a shout out to FPL Fraser. He has done this amazing work of this table. He does it almost now and then. I think if not every week, he does post it a lot. So make sure you check it out on Twitter. FPL Fraser is the handle. Okay, so we'll move into what my thought process behind the wildcard at the moment is. I had Liverpool players. I had two Liverpool players. I had Chelsea players. One James. I think I had two Brighton players as well. All of them blank. So removing them is obviously a strategy. I had Arsenal players, which I'm also getting rid of. So the thought behind is that we attack the fixtures from game week 8 till 13 and then get back the players like Salah or Trent and whoever are performing at the moment. Obviously, I have put in three Newcastle in there because they have the fixtures. They have the best fixtures. Their numbers decent in attacking and defensive. I've put in City as well, and I don't have Tottenham. I have one Arsenal player. I think most of you guys will be able to guess that, but yeah,
Martinelli.
yeah. I have put Martinelli. So for a lot of people, let's just cut down. Do we? First question I'll just ask you guys. Arsenal, since we're talking about it, do you think you should hold Arsenal players on your wildcard or should you remove it, or in general this game week?
So actually, the one of the main reasons for me waiting it out was the triple Arsenal I had versus Brentford. So I think it's a really good fixture for them from an attacking perspective. So I think holding them now and selling them before the North London derby and the Liverpool game is going to be the play for me. So I think it's the great, like as we can see from the attacking FDR provided by FPL Freezer, Arsenal are actually ranked fourth in the table for attacking data. So I think they are a good hold for now. But then again, I got a bit lucky with the postponements, having only two players out who I wanted to sell anyways, Trent and Salah. So I may be a bit biased into their thinking that the holding play might be the play. So I think it's still a good decision to hold them versus Brentford, as even though it's an away game, I think versus Brentford. So I think Martinelli is terrific value, which I think you also have on your wildcard, still have. Jesus is another player who is very highly owned and a good player for and has a potential 18 to 20 pointer in him. So I think they are a good hold for Brentford, but after that they are a sell. I agree with you.
So I mean, just the fact that you said you're holding to Arsenal guys and not selling them, you're probably wildcarding in 9,
Yep.
and that's your logic. So basically, you want to
Yeah.
target the Arsenal versus Brentford game.
Yeah, Arsenal, Brentford, and I also want to target the Tottenham Leicester game because I don't think I will have more than one Tottenham player for my game week 9 wildcard because except for Kane, no one is really that clicking from an FPL point of view. Like Son, we know from his historical data, is a great asset and a great finisher, but he is not. He still had 0 goals this season, so it is not clicking for him. Kulusevski, whilst he started great, I had him in my team. He is now getting benched randomly. He has been benched for the last 3 games, so I don't want that benching headache at 8 million. And from the defensive point of view, it's the same issue with Perisic and Sessegnon. It's 50-50 on who starts. So, except Kane, I don't think of anyone there as an FPL option yet. So, I don't think anyone of those will be in the wildcard draft for 9. But in game week 8, their fixture versus Leicester is one of the prime candidates for the big, like a gold mine fixture, where we can predict that there will be 2 to 3 goals for the Spurs side.
Yeah, I think Kane is a good shout, Mihir. And as you rightly pointed out, Spurs have been a bit inconsistent despite not, I think, losing any game. But Kane has been a standout. He's kept delivering. Even I think last week when he scored, right, he just scored 1 goal, but ended up getting 3 bonus. So he ended up matching Haaland, for example. And this week is uh, a good fixture for him. You obviously spoke about Son, but yeah, we'll speak about him in detail as we proceed with this. Any other obvious flaws that you find in a game week 8 wildcard meal? Because you said that you're not playing it right now. You've still got it, but you want to hold it.
And also
Yeah.
because your team is very well set up for game week 8. As far as I can
Yeah.
see, if you have two Tottenham, three Arsenal, and only two players blanking, so you're pretty much decently set up with two free transfers, I assume.
Yep, and another thing I wanted to see is how Chelsea line up in yesterday's game with like in the UCL versus Salzburg. And I am low-key holding out for a spot if I can target Sterling on a wild card because he is at an awkward price point which we can only get through a wild card. And the fixture run, as we can see from the table below, which was provided by Fraser, is their fixtures from game week 9 to game week 12 can be a good attacking gold mine because they face Crystal Palace, Wolves, Aston Villa, and Brentford before the game week 13 fixture, where we can sell them to someone else. And Sterling, despite Chelsea not being attacking like offensively great at the moment, Sterling has been consistent with his returns. Like despite Havertz and Aubameyang, like both of them disappointed yesterday, but Sterling again was the guy who was the furthest forward, and he was the guy who got the goal. So I am keeping my an eye out for him and also Reece James. So he is 6 million, and I am sure Anshuman will have him on his bench as a Chelsea fan. But in my current team, I don't have him, and I don't think there is a need to for me to wildcard him in when he has no fixture this week.
Indeed, yes. Have you also not got Kulusevski in your team right now, Mihir? So,
Yeah,
I think that sort of leaves you two options. This is one of the reasons why I Obviously, I understand the emotions behind everyone playing their wildcard, and obviously, if your team is not optimal for this week, it makes sense to play it. But if you can field an 11 this week, I think there's a lot of merit in holding it because Potter is fairly new to Chelsea, and their fixtures are about to turn, and I think they could look in the short term till the World Cup. So if you hold it out for another week or two, there's enough merit. I also mentioned Kulusevski because Mason Mount is at a similar price point, and I watched the Chelsea game. I think it's one of the cases where again he's going to be a key player uh, for Chelsea under Potter. He's just that kind of a player who offers a lot of work rate, has different routes to points, and we saw last in the last Champions League game he was quite involved. Sterling obviously is a good shot, but at your price point, Mihir, for those who have Kulusevski and you let's say you get a start out of Leicester, it's an easy switch to someone like a Mason Mount with the fixtures turning.
I actually don't agree because I think Mason Mount is an incredible player in real life, but I don't think he's a great fantasy asset because he can be consistent. But for example, like someone like Phil Foden, who is at a similar price point, who can score like a hat trick in a game or a brace to get a 15 to 20 pointer. Like I have not seen Mason Mount score that except for games against Leicester, where it will be a random game where he will explode with a 21 pointer. So I think Mason Mount is a great player in real life, but not a great fantasy option for me right now.
Do you think we should be more perhaps open-minded? Because I think he's going to be really. Obviously, we don't know much yet,
Yeah,
but
uh,
that's that price point, of course.
yeah, I agree with you being open-minded with Potter. Like I mean, for the initial term, like for a game week 9 wildcard, I wouldn't consider. But if he starts firing under Potter, then I'm open to him. Like I will have a 8 million price point on my wildcard.
I mean,
That's
just coming back to the question of wildcard or not. So, for the people who are watching us, Z has already wildcard, so he doesn't have the option or leverage to do that. I have wildcarded this game week, and Mihir is not wildcarding because he has a very well set up team. He has exactly the players he wants. He has two free transfers and two players he wants to remove who blank this week. Although, Mihir, if you had a team similar to mine, where you had two Brighton, two Liverpool, probably three Arsenal, which is consisting of Martinelli and Ramsdale, a bench, you need a hit to field an 11. You have Neko in the 11. Even if you take a hit, Andreas, no Mitrovic, no Trippier. Would you wildcard?
Yep, I completely agree with your point of wildcarding if you can't field 10 players or 11 players without taking a hit. Because as we know, with the current template, many of our managers were with triple Brighton or with triple Liverpool, who who all have their post fixtures postponed this week. Like I got incredibly lucky with the postponements to have this well set up. So if you are in a case like Anshuman with 5 or 6 players out with postponed games or injuries, I would not think twice before hitting the wildcard button.
So if you have a very well set up team, let's say if you got lucky because you have Tottenham assets. Let's say there's someone who doesn't have Tottenham assets, rather he has assets from other teams, and he is in a situation where he could wildcard this week or wildcard next week. Why do you think he should or should not wildcard this week?
I think one of the main reasons would be the Arsenal, Brentford, and the Tottenham Leicester games because I don't think they are viable assets mid-term on the wild card because next week it's the North London Derby and it can be a 3-3 game or a nil-nil game. Like it is a game of exchange. So and I think Conte in these big games tends to keep it tight with a three back so or a five back if you mention it. So I think it could be a tight game with not much joy for FPL assets like or a tight 1-1.
And also to mention, Partey is back for Arsenal, so that will defensively improve them a lot.
Okay.
That being said, again, so if you could probably have, let's say with the Arsenal point, I basically think that if let's say you're in a situation where you have Jesus, and you could take a -4 and play Jesus, or you could just take Isaac on a wild card. Do you think Isaac can justify that? Because it's ultimately Jesus plus a -4 versus an Isaac. So I think, given the fixture they play Bournemouth, I think Isaac can at least match, if not outscore, Jesus this game week, especially with the -4 into consideration. That is the thought behind me not putting a lot of value on in terms of seeing Brentford versus Arsenal as a game. I will obviously have Martinelli. Defensively, I know Ramsdale hasn't been that great, so Pope covers that for me as well.
Yeah, Isaac is a good option in itself individually. Like his numbers are really good, but albeit it's 2 game week sample size. So I actually watched the Crystal Palace game and he missed a one-on-one opportunity.
Yeah,
And
he missed big chances.
yeah, I
Genuinely
agree.
big chances, yeah.
Yep, he was 2-1 goal and he tried to chip the keeper and it was an unfortunate set of circumstances. Like you would put your money 9 times out of 10 on him scoring. And there was another chance where the Newcastle goal got disallowed randomly for like the Crystal Palace player pushed Joe Willock and he hit the keeper and it would have been a Isaac assist, I think, if the goal would have stood. So I think Isaac is a great hold for the wild card, but if he blanks versus Bournemouth, will you be looking to sell him for a Mitrovic? That's the key thing in my mind because Isaac is new to the Premier League, so we don't know if he will be the main man and if
But
Zeeshan like he is coming back soon. So will he replace him or will he have a player two up top?
okay, so quickly wrap it up because we've been discussing wildcard or not. Z, do you have anything to add? Because as of now, I think the only reason why you should consider wildcarding this week is because your game week 8 and 9 drafts, if they're not very different, I know there's a Chelsea factor, but I think you can put a player as a placeholder for Sterling because he'll be more expensive, Son or Kevin De Bruyne, as we'll discuss ahead. But I don't think there's a huge difference in what we can field as teams. And going ahead, instead of fielding a weaker team, you can probably wildcard this week, gain those extra points and gain those ranks this week. And that is, I think, wildcarding this week is much better.
Definitely, I
Also,
think Reece James is, definitely a big hold for, the reasons that we've already covered. To me, it purely comes down to where your team is this week. And luckily, like me, I am in a position where I've played my wild card. Obviously, he still has his wild card, but when I played my wild card, I got rid of Salah. I don't have Trent, for example. So I'm in a good position where I'll be able to field an 11 without taking a hit. So that bodes well. I've got KDB, I've got Kane. But in an unfortunate situation where let's say it is down to 5 or 6 players, and you have the likes of Salah and Trent who are blanking, and you don't have your wild card. The first thing I think is I would just pray. I would pray really hard that somehow then it's about damage limitation, right? So I hope you have Haaland because it's very easy these days. You just stick the captaincy on Haaland, and I'll probably try to make 2 or 3 transfers. So if you've got 2 transfers, take a -4. I would make 3 moves with a very big upside. And when it comes to upside, I think we've discussed Newcastle, and I'm very keen on their defense because they're defensively solid the way they set up. And they've got guys like Trippier, and I also want to call out Fabian Schär, who is
hmm,
terrific. So I would make such moves as my free transfers if I have just 5 or 6 players, and I want to just limit the damage. Try and get in players who could get you 15, 20 points. And let's say if your current team with Haaland captain gets you 40, 45, you are able to match the game week average, and that is it's all about that. Amir, do you want to add something?
I just wanted to add on your free hit point because there were many questions on Twitter about
On
it.
free hit,
So
yeah.
yeah, so if you had about 5 players postponed with the games postponed of Chelsea or Liverpool, who with Chelsea have a good game next week, Liverpool who could have a good game with no Potter at Brighton. So if you had 5 players with games postponed, would you consider a free hit if you had that sort of luxury with no Arsenal or like 2 Arsenals? So and you want the Liverpool and Chelsea guys back next week. So would you consider a free hit over a wild card, Anshuman?
No, Z is saying no, and I would say no too. The only reason is you might free hit this week, and you're assuming that you want Chelsea and Liverpool assets next week. But then when do you wildcard? And are you gaining enough out of that wildcard?
I
So
think Game Week 12 wildcard could be the play when City and Arsenal blank.
it depends on your team. So only 5 players won't. I mean, 5 players would have a good fixture. But let's say Arsenal, you have boys who are playing uh, uh, Tottenham, then you have United boys playing City. You if those you have a lot of players from those teams. If you say you have Brighton players against Liverpool, automatically your team is still weaker, and then you'll be like thinking, should I wildcard or not? And then again, game week 11 isn't optimal. Game week you'll have to wait another game week for that. Game week 10 isn't good either, which makes me think that if you have to wildcard, why not 9 and then why waste a free hit? Might as well just
Also,
remove players. And I'm totally against using free hit this game. I think you can field a decent 11 with the -8 or decent 10-9, and I think that should be enough given the fixtures.
also adding to your point of free hit, Ben Crellin mentioned that we will have a big double game week with most sides having a double game week in game week 20 or 21. So we can field a like if we aren't well set up with the optimal fixtures that week, we can use a free hit that week for a high return game week. Like it's
Yeah,
like a high ceiling game week that week, whereas this week will be a low ceiling week.
yeah, can do that
Definitely.
totally.
Yeah. And I think given the nature of this season, right, we've already seen some random postponements, you know, affecting the schedule. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this as the season goes on, because after the World Cup, there could be injuries, and these players are going to play games every 3 days. I definitely foresee a situation where we will have plenty of opportunities to maximize, the free hit. If you're playing it this week, my question is that does it get you at least 20 or 30 points compared to your current team? And if the answer to that is no, I would hold on to the free hit. I think it's worth saving it for a future week.
Yeah, I think so. I'm totally against free hit this week. I think you take a minus hit, field as much as you can, captain Haaland, and that's it.
Yeah, definitely. We covered Liverpool a lot, and players like Salah and Trent came up. And Salah is another player that a lot of people have been talking about as a premium. What do you guys think? Should we hold on to him? Because over the years, at least the last 2 or 3 years, he's had this reputation where people were scared to sell him. Because purely down to the output that he was delivering. This year, there's a new king in town, Erling Haaland, who everyone is captaining every week. Salah is no longer the hot, shiny toy
FPL
that
King.
he used to be, the FPL king that he used to be. Do you think the blank this week, and a lot of other factors, what camp are we in? Are we Mo Salah or no Salah?
So I think I am in a no Salah camp for now, as this week he blanks, and I will be wildcarding next week. So I can't afford to have a 30 million asset sitting on the bench with no fixtures. Right? So I think I am firmly in the no Salah camp right now. And even if you were not wildcarding this week, their next few fixtures are Brighton, who are unknown under the new manager, and Arsenal and Man City, who started the season well, and Man City are the champions elect for this year. So there will be a tough game for Salah no matter what. So I think for the next 4 game weeks, we can afford to be no Salah.
Uh, Anshuman, are you keeping
I'm no Salah, no, no.
Mo Salah?
Simple. I'm not captaining him. I don't want a 13 million player. I'm not captaining. I can go Diaz. If I want a Liverpool asset, I can go Darwin. Till the time I'm not in a situation where I want to captain Salah, I'm not getting him back.
I think that's fair, and a lot of us, it's down to their immediate fixtures, right? The next three. Brighton, okay, we don't know how Brighton are going to play without Potter, but if you look at City and Arsenal, again, a lot of people say that Salah tends to do well against Arsenal, but Arsenal this year, what we've seen so far, they're a totally different beast. Good attacking numbers, elite defense, as we've already looked at the underlying data a lot of times. So it could be a tricky game, and a lot of other potential factors that we've discussed in the past. How the slight tweak in Klopp's formation is affecting Salah's output. He may, of course, start doing well, but as long as your replacement for Salah is, matching him or even outperforming him, I think that's all that matters. So I think we're all in the no Salah camp here.
Yeah, and we also got to consider the fact that he blanks this week. So KDB or Son, whoever you buy, will have a 2 point head start on him no matter what.
Indeed, yeah, I think those two names, Mihir, they are the two popular replacements that everyone's talking about. Kevin De Bruyne, obviously playing for City, has really strong underlying numbers. I think creatively, he's just, obviously benefits from the fact that he's feeding Haaland, who is unbelievable this year. Son is a bit of a different case here. He's been an overperformer in the past. This year is not quite happening for him. Even the underlying data is fine, yet to find the back of the net. Uh, would you consider him for a 1 week fund? Let's say that you're holding on to your wild card. You're in a situation where you have a 10 or 11 players this week, but you've got Salah and you're planning to wild card next week. Would you take Salah out for Son? Because I personally, I'm looking at his numbers. It's not very encouraging from a long-term perspective, but the fact that Leicester are a plum fixture, right? Do you think he's worth a 1 week fund?
So I
What do you
was
think, Mir?
considering Son this week over KDB just due to the fact that you mentioned about Leicester and it being a plum fixture. But I was just looking at their last few games, and Son doesn't look the Son of last season, where he was scoring for fun and got the golden boot. And despite his numbers, like his XG this season is 2 without scoring a goal, and this is a historical overperformer of XG. So this is a huge amount of underperformance by him, and something is not clicking for him. And many Spurs fans, like I was talking to a few Spurs fans and going through Spurs forums, like they want Son to be benched because he hasn't been performing well. And the guy who has been benched, Kulusevski, who I own, so I was searching due to it. So, and they think that Kulusevski and Richarlison should start with Kane, as it isn't just happening for Son, and he might need a breather. So I wouldn't consider Son just due to the fact of him being a minutes risk this week. So as we don't know if he will start or if he will be benched. And whereas the other guy, Kevin De Bruyne, feeding to the best striker in the world right now, Erling Haaland. So I think he's the guy to own, despite the Wolves being a tougher fixture than Leicester, as we just know that he will play 90 minutes or close to 90 if City have won the game. So I think he's the better option, even if it's a 1 week punt or a mid-term option.
All right. Anshuman, same for you. Would you not consider Son even for a 1 week punt this week?
Two reasons. We don't expect him to start because of the forums and fans not expecting him to start. So that's up in the air. So you don't want that player in your punt, like as your punt if he's not starting. Secondly, Kevin De Bruyne looks like if you're dead ending your team, you can still think about it, or because a lot of people have a situation where they have three City players already, Foden, Gundogan, Cancelo, Haaland, three out of them. So there are a lot of people who have this situation. They can't get De Bruyne. You probably want to look somewhere like Kulusevski or get Kane if you can with those two free transfers, probably. But I wouldn't go Son, especially because he's a doubt and he's not looking that good. If you're on wildcard again, this is also a doubt for people who are on wildcard because of that 12 million spot is still there. I think De Bruyne is the better one because he's a better hold. So in case you don't want to sell him for a Sterling next week, De Bruyne looks like a better hold till game week 12 and then you can get back Salah. That is the only reason. And it's not like he has genuine goal threat even against Sevilla. I think the game they played even against Dortmund yesterday he was looking decent and he looked good. I think even against Villa he was very good. So should be a good hold in my opinion.
Yeah, not much love for Son, clearly, and I think for the right reasons. Another factor and another reason why I feel it's not working for Son is the arrival of Perisic, who was very attacking minded. He likes to come inside, be in positions where he's taking shots, unlike Sessegnon, who provides that with, makes runs, and that allows Son to, get inside the box and do his thing. So I think it's a mix of a lot of factors, and confidence obviously being one of them where it's not working out. If I was in a situation where I had to take a 1 week punt, I think I would still take it, but uh, yeah, I don't see any long-term potential. And the fact that in my own team, I've got Kevin De Bruyne, I think he's a good long-term pick. I am very comfortable about the fact that I've got him. I've got Kane as well. So yeah, I think good times. I'm very happy. Don't have to worry about Salah. And yeah, on that note, we're talking about our teams. Let's preview our teams for this game week. Let's start with you, Anshuman. How's your team shaping up? And yeah, captaincy, you're sticking to Haaland.
Yeah, so this is my wildcard draft at the moment. My draft is Pope, Iverson, Trippier, Emerson, Cancelo, James, Walker, Peters, Kulusevski, Madison, Martinelli, De Bruyne, Andreas, Isaac, Haaland, and Mitrovic. So
I
the
hope,
people, yeah, I'll
I
explain.
hope.
I'll get you through that. I know Mihir is very interested in my draft. So the front three is nailed. I'm not changing that. Haaland, Mitrovic looks like the hold for me. A lot of people will have this question: Wilson is back. Will Isaac be starting or not? But for them, I just want to point out that Eddie Howe was Bournemouth's manager who used the 4-4-2 system very well, and they're used to this. Eddie Howe especially is very comfortable with this system. He wants that two striker up top partnership. I think King Wilson did it very well. I think Isaac and Wilson can do it as well. So I'm not worried about Isaac's minute once Wilson is back. I think he'll start. That's not an issue. And I don't want to hold him forever. It's probably till game week 12, 13. And I think he'll start all the games till then. Andreas is nailed in my team. I don't think there's a better value player at 4.5. There could be a case for Bailey, but I don't think there's a lot of game weeks where I want to play Bailey. Plus, he's always a risk. He's one game away from getting benched. So, one bad game and he's out. So, I think Andreas is set. De Bruyne, as we discussed, is set. Martinelli, I think 6.2 is providing value. So, he's in my team. Also, I want that Arsenal cover because eventually later on, there's a case people are building that you don't want. There is a scenario where you don't have to play him. So, you can take out the money here, get in someone like a Da Silva or a Bailey, and put it in again, get in a Trent. So that is a possibility. But I want to play Martinelli against Leeds, eventually against Southampton and Nottingham Forest when they played in 12 and 13. and that is why 13 and 14, and that is why I want to hold Martinelli. Madison, because of his fixture solely, no reason otherwise. I think Madison is just because of fixtures. A point that Madison is playing very here and there, so he's not sticking to that number 10 role. He's playing sometimes in a 4-4-2 wide as well, and he's dropping a lot deep. So that's something to consider. But still, again, the fixtures are too good to ignore, and that is why Madison is there. Kulusevski is my punt this week. He is the 1 week punt I'm taking. Could sell him for Zaha next week itself if I have to. Otherwise, I'll just hold him till 10 and sell it for Zaha then. Trippier
Do you
nailed.
think, do you think he
Yeah,
starts again? Do you think he starts again? Because he's not started for a while, if I'm not wrong.
I'll explain. Trippier is nailed. I think I'm going to keep him. Pope again. Cancelo James said. Emerson is something I'm not sure on. I might go Neko for 2 reasons. Because I want someone who plays Game Week 12 and has an easier fixture. Emerson plays Liverpool, which I'm not comfortable with. I'm for sure that Emerson starts this one and has a better game. But again, 12 could be a problem for me. So
Do
either
you
I
have the
figure that out.
Emerson of Spurs or West Ham?
West Ham. Not Emerson Royal, Emerson Palmieri. So if that's his name. And then I have Walker Peters, which Mihir is very intrigued to talk about. Now, the only reason I have Walker Peters over Dine is that one, Emi Martinez is not fit. Apparently, he could be back, but he's not fit as of now for the game. So that's a huge blow to Aston Villa. Secondly, Dine is an old goal machine, which I don't like. He's one tackle away from a red card, which again I don't like. And the pairing of Walker Peters in game week 8, 9, and 12, where I possibly could play him, I think the fixtures are there for him. So I just switch you back to the defensive data, and they play Villa with Watkins also out apparently for Villa. So that makes a better case for Walker Peters. Also, Walker Peters matches Cancelo for penalty area touches. He's there. He's got a big chance involvement as well. He's got a goal as well. It's not like he's just a defender. He's doing decent. Southampton have conceded goals, but they've not considered they've not considered a lot of amount of shots or XG. They're the sixth best team for XG conceded as well this season. 6th or 7th, I'm not very sure on that. So again, I can play him in 8, I can play him in 9 and 12. That's the only game weeks I want Walker Peters for. And he's 4.5, he's one of the cheapest fullbacks at the moment. Fofana could be an option, but again, we don't know. He didn't start the last match. I can't bet against a player. I don't know if he's starting or not. And now you can
So,
destroy my team. Yeah.
so your wildcard draft is the most template as it can get, and Kyle Walker Peters, right?
Yeah. It's most template, and I don't mind being template. It's template for a reason.
Also, on the serious note, for 4.5, would you consider Diogo Dalot?
No, the only reason for Diogo Dalot. So when I go back to the defensive data, let's say, when do I play him? I need him in 10. Can't play him against City. He plays. I need him in 9. I can't play him against City. Then 10 I can if I want to against Everton. Again 12 he plays Newcastle or Tottenham. Spurs. Can't play him there. Don't want to play him there.
That's
So the
fair.
game weeks I want my defenders to ideally if I did this on the fixture ticker. So when you put 8, 9, and 12 on the fixture ticker for fixtures and you delete the rest of the game weeks, Newcastle is first, second is Fulham, third is Southampton, then there's Villa. So it's not like Southampton. If you do only 9 and 12 against Southampton second, 8, 9, and just 12 Southampton second again. So it's not a bad game week to have Walker Peters, and that is the thought behind it. I still think that Ralph Hasenhuttl can put up a good show in terms of defense. They can defend. They're not a very bad team. Also, their pitch is horrible, so it will support them eventually.
Yeah, their numbers are also good this year. Like I thought it wouldn't be that great, but their
They've
numbers are
conceded
actually
bad
better.
goals. Yeah, they've not conceded a lot of shots inside the box, not a shots in general as well, and usually about 1.2 per xg per game in general. They've certain games obviously they conceded against Tottenham a lot of xg, but again they've not been very bad, and that is the thought behind it.
Yup.
Yeah, I think in a season where we've primarily looked at top 6 players as Southampton. It could be that sort of a bias, right? Where you look at a Southampton player and go, oh, okay, Southampton, why? But I think I actually like that pick a lot, and I could see a 12-pointer. Where one of the games where we get an assist, Southampton keep a clean sheet. I really rate their keeper as well, Gavin Bazzuno. So yeah, I think that's a great pick, Anshuman. We'll move on. We look at Mihir's team for the upcoming game week. Mihir, tell us what are your plans?
So this is my current game week team. Nick Pope in goal, who I have got in early and really happy with it as it was a transfer from Ward who gave 1 pointers each week. Then I have actually used one of my 2 free transfers, getting in Trippier for Trent. Then I have Cancelo and Saliba. Then I have Andreas starting for me this week, who I think is a good starter this week, just given the fact he is facing the worst defense in the league, Nottingham Forest. Then I have Martinelli, Salah, who I will likely sell to KDB post pressers or any shocks in the pressers about my players. Then I have Kulusevski or Kulubensky, as many would say, after having been benched 3 times in a row by Conte, hoping he starts versus Leicester. Then Haaland captain like everyone else, Isaac and Jesus. On the bench, I have Ward, Estupinian, Sessegnon and Da Silva. So I have actually 14 players with a fixture this week, whilst many others don't even have 8. So got massively lucky in that. Currently debating starting Sessegnon or not, as it's 50-50 among the Spurs fans who starts this week. But I think I would likely not take a risk and go with the safer option in Saliba.
I think, but if we have news, I would recommend starting Seth. You know the upside is there in that game.
Yep. Waiting
Yeah.
for news. If we get any reliable news, then I would start him over a Saliba or a Pereira, maybe.
Maybe you probably want to hold Pereira and keep him because you don't have Mitrovic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And for the transfer, I think it's very likely that I go Salah to KDB because
I
not
mean,
impressed with
can't
Salah.
be more template, right, Mihir?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Where next week's wildcard where it will be spicy with a premium.
I will look forward to the spice, Mihir. And yeah, lastly, we'll look at my team for this game week. Obviously, no plans of wildcard because I cannot play one. But I've got 2 free transfers in the kitty. Luckily, I've already, as mentioned before, I've got the likes of Kane, Haaland, KDB already in my team. So yeah, pretty comfortable. I've got Jesus as well. I am backing the big boys to fire. 2 free transfers in a bit of dilemma because I've got Sanchez who does not have a fixture this week. So I probably could take him out, but I think Brighton have 2 postponed fixtures, so there could be a chance where they might have a potential double game week depending on what the FA decides. So obviously, no, there could be a big double game week. I think in 21. But unlike other teams, Brighton have 2 postponed fixtures. So I want to keep him just for that insurance where he might potentially have a double game week. So yeah, one option is I just keep him and go with 10 players without a keeper, or I take him out for someone like a Pope and uh, go for, I've got a lot of options, honestly. I've not made up my mind
Actually,
yet.
actually,
How much you've
sorry to
got in bank?
interrupt. Ben Crellin actually mentioned that the double game weeks will be post the World Cup. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's not something to worry about right now. It's like after the second free wildcard, which we will have after the World Cup.
Has he covered the fact that Brighton have 2 postponed
Yeah,
fixtures
yeah,
this
yeah.
Yeah,
week?
there is no space to like put
See,
the
guys,
fixtures in.
if Ben has said it, it can't happen, guys. It's just
Wow.
trust him.
Uh, I think I'll still keep him because I don't see a lot of upside. I like Pope, obviously, but I'm just thinking that, I've got Luis Diaz. I've got nothing in my bank. So even if I move him to someone like a Madison, I don't have enough to upgrade Sanchez to someone like Pope, and I don't like any other keepers. Maybe Bazuno is an option. So yeah, a bit of a dilemma. I might probably just use one transfer, go with 10 players and save the other one, and assess over the international break. Have that 14-day window where I could think of a lot more possibilities. But yeah, captaincy, I think I'm sticking it on Kane as things stand. I think I like him for that fixture on penalties. A lot of upside. It's a big risk going against Haaland, as we know. And in the format, being a City fan, it would be hard if he bangs another hat trick, and I just have to watch. But yeah, I'll probably stick to my guns and slap the armband on Harry Kane yet again.
Who are you looking to buy instead of Rashford for your free?
I'm thinking I'll just bench Rashford, and I kind of like him against City because the way United play, we saw it against Liverpool as well. And if you look at Rashford's record in the big games, he's actually done well against us as well. And I think Mihir would know in the past, even someone like Martial, he tends to do well against City. Even under a great manager like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, United used to do well. So I might keep him and let's say assess. I don't think his injury is that serious. The one move that stands out to me this week is Luis Diaz out for maybe a Madison or a Kulusevski for a 1 week punt. So I'm just do that and leave Rashford for now.
I think
I
it's
largely
still
disagree,
early.
dude. Yeah. I think
I think
Luis
it's
Diaz is
still
Brighton
early.
is much better. Yeah.
He has no game.
But I
Luis
don't really
Diaz has no game.
fancy. He does not have a game this week, and we covered it for Salah, right? He's got Brighton, City, and Arsenal, upcoming.
But
So for a premium like Salah, a proven asset like Salah, if we considering fixtures as a factor, I think it obviously applies to Luis Diaz, who I don't think is as good as Salah, not even close. So
But
I'm very comfortable selling him.
you don't have wildcard. So let's say you get Rashford out for someone who's playing this week, who's a decent double. So James Ward-Prowse has a 2 good game weeks. I think he plays
Oh,
Villa
no way.
and Leeds.
There's
I'm just
no chance
hearing
I'm
hear
keeping
me
him
out.
on.
So you can either take out money from Rashford, you can go somewhere like a very cheap player like Bailey. What happens is you play Luis Diaz in 9 versus Brighton, and then you sell him off to Zaha. It's perfect segue to Zaha, and you have your fixtures as well. I think this is the easiest way you can put in Zaha as well, and then eventually you can see how you want to figure out the other funding of a team. But I
I
really
think the
think you
fact,
shouldn't be selling Diaz ahead of Rashford, like ahead of Rashford for sure.
Yeah, also, I think the player you mentioned, Madison, I think the time to buy him is next week because I don't think Spurs will be that great of a game for him. So I think the
But
window for you with no wild card would be to buy him ahead of the Nottingham Forest game, which will be a hall game, likely hall game.
okay, two
Diaz
two
is
questions,
gone.
guys.
Diaz is gone. Not keeping him. But yeah,
Two
I
questions.
agree to
Yeah,
the point. But yeah, Brighton, I'm not too worried. It's just Luis Diaz. I'm not worried at all.
we'll check that after game week 9. But do you now that Brendan Rodgers has come out and said they want to play very attacking, they want to attack this game aggressively, they don't want to sit back. Okay, this is what exactly Brendan Rodgers said in the press conference. Also, Tottenham have conceded the most amount of chances through the center. They've actually conceded the most amount of chances through the center by any team considered at the moment. So they're the worst in that terms. Do you think Madison has a decent chance of scoring this week? Because it why I ask this question is for people who are in my boat who have a wild card can get Zaha, bench Zaha and play Madison instead. For me, I'm taking a 1 week punt, so I can avoid that punt and go Zaha directly. It saves me a transfer ultimately. Would you do that? Would you play Madison this week if you had the chance to save a transfer and play just Madison against Tottenham?
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm just bringing Madison because at the very least, I take out Diaz and I get a 2 pointer from Madison. Worst thing, he gets a yellow card. If I have terrible luck, he gets a red card and gets sent off. But in an ideal scenario, I think there's a good chance where if Leicester try to attack Tottenham, he could get something out of the game, even if he does not, like you said, good fixtures until the World Cup. So he's a very comfortable hold. And if I'm bringing Madison in a free transfer, it's not just for this week; it's long term. Same applies if you're getting him in a wild card as well. So I think he's a good buy. Uh, and that's one of the reasons why I like him. Mihir, do you have any other thoughts
Yeah,
about Musa?
yeah, I actually disagree with the getting Madison this week and the Tottenham defensive point of view. Like as Anshuman mentioned, like they concede the most chances down the center, but
In the league,
despite them,
yeah, let's just specify in the
despite
league.
yeah, despite them facing only Chelsea from the like traditional big six, and their defensive data is actually quite encouraging. Like they are the third best defense so far, according to underlying data, and according to the XG data so far in the league. Leicester City's attack is ranked 17th best in the league. So I don't think, like, despite Rogers saying that they will be super attacking, so I don't think it will be a one night thing. Like if they sleep today and they come out like all guns blazing tomorrow. So I think it will be a gradual process because they can't also rely on their defense because their keeper, the FPL legend Danny Walt, is
Yeah.
someone which can't be relied upon for clean sheets or saves. So I think it will be a gradual process, and I think he will try to use it in the games versus lesser opposition, like for for example, like Nottingham Forest, the games which are from next week. So I think the Leicester will sit back versus first and like as all games go, and I think it will be a good decision to do that because as we saw versus the game against Sporting midweek, Sporting set up with a game plan and counter attacked against Spurs and found joy and eventually won the game 2-0. So I think it would be a good decision for Leicester to do it that way.
Yeah, I think I agree. And not just, obviously we're talking about Madison and then the Brendan Rodgers quote came up. I think the quote needs to be taken with a pinch of salt because he can say what he wants. It's like Dominic Solanke coming and saying that I want to score 50 goals a season. He wants to score those goals, but he does not necessarily he won't score it because he's not capable of that. So also, I think this is music to my ears as a Kane captainer. And I
Yeah.
said this when Kane played Nottingham Forest as well. They're a very brave team, show a lot of attacking intent. And I love it when teams who are not very good, they try to play attacking football because that benefits a big six team that is up against them. So yeah, I think this will benefit Kane if Leicester try to attack Tottenham, and they're a good counter-attacking side. I think that is when Spurs play their best football. That is how Conte is as a manager. So yeah, I mean, Madison could get a goal or something here and there, but yeah, there could be goal. But I expect Spurs to win very comfortably. If not a
Yep,
clean sheet, they should win like a 3-1 or 4-1, in my opinion.
yep, agreed. Also, which sofa are you planning to hide when the robot named Erling Haaland plays?
A youth sofa, obviously, but I'm fairly comfortable, captaining Harry. I've actually been doing it for the last 3 weeks, to be honest. There was only 1 week I sort of it went wrong for me because Kane got just one assist. But apart from that, uh, when Haaland scored a hat trick versus Palace, he was not very highly captained. Last week he got 9 and Haaland as well got 9. So I'm backing, myself again. I keep saying that, I like to get those lottery tickets. If you want to go big, you have to buy the lottery tickets. So again, I'm rolling the dice, taking a chance, and hopefully I fall on the right side of variance. Let's see what happens.
Yep, that's great. Also, one last question before we wrap up. Anshuman, you are on a wild card, and this is a dilemma for most people. Which would be your top three forwards on a wild card?
Isaac, Mitrovic, Haaland. There's no debate about it in my head. Tony, he's good, but again, the problem is the fixtures that come ahead. I think as Isaac, the next three fixtures are too hard to ignore, and he's been in good position. Newcastle attacking data has been good. Yes, Brentford have been attacking well, but again, this week Arsenal is tough if you're wildcarding this week. Next week, if you wildcard, there's a case then you want to go Tony, and it's a different scenario next week. But this week, I wouldn't go without Isaac, especially against Bournemouth. It's just too hard to ignore.
What about Harry Kane?
I don't think the only problem is that if I put that 12 million spot there, it's tougher for me to get back Salah in game week 12. So Kevin De Bruyne to Sterling or Kevin De Bruyne to Salah will be easier switch. So I can rotate around with my team more easier. If I get Kane, I need 2 free transfers, and I just can't afford that with my team at the moment. I just don't want to.
Do
Yep.
you think if you set up long term, because game week 12 is a while away, and if you trust your squad enough to get the job done, do you think if you're in a position where you can save 2 transfers around game week 12, would you then have Harry Kane?
No, I will
Or
be
do you
saving
think
2 free transfers to get Liverpool assets. That's a different story. But I don't trust Harry Kane and Tottenham enough, anyways. So, do I want Kevin De Bruyne from a City attack? Yes, I do. It just gives me more flexibility in my team. So let's say I want Salah versus Brighton, I can get that. If I want Sterling, if Sterling looks great, he was phenomenal last game. Let's be honest, he was the only good player from Chelsea at the pitch. James was looking decent as well. So if I want Sterling, which is very odd to say, guys, being a Chelsea fan, being seen Sterling in play at City, it's a very odd thing to say. But if I want Sterling against after Crystal Palace, I need those 2 free transfers right away. Then I have to figure out who do I sell in my midfield, how do I fund that move, who should I get up top. There's a lot of questions that come up, and I am not sure if I want to. Plus, the fixtures for Tottenham are not the best. They might look decent on paper, but it's still not the best in my opinion. So that is why also I'm not going Kane.
What about you, G?
top three? I think the answer, I would still find a way to get Harry Kane. But again, given that we have different strategies, our answers may have a bit of bias. But I like Haaland, I like Kane, I like Mitrovic. So I'll try to have these. And a lot of people talk about it. I think this is the year of the forwards because midfielders are doing well, but they're not offering the same value like they've been in recent years. It's right up there. I think Harry Kane is worth the premium. The fact that he's on penalties, I am very strained that he missed one this season. I don't think he's going to miss one again in the near future. So very comfortable owning Harry Kane. So yeah, those would be my
But
three: Haaland,
Z,
Mitrovic.
but if you look at let's compare, he's a 12 million asset and he has the fixtures Leicester, Arsenal, Brighton, Everton, United. Okay, the next five. Newcastle have Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford, United, Everton. Do you think Kane outscores Isaac by at least 20 points to justify that immense value he has in him?
I think so. I don't know 20 points, but I think he will probably outscore Isaac by quite a margin. I know everyone is hot on Isaac, and he scored the other day, and he had some big chances in the previous game. Wilson, once he's back, I think he'll definitely affect the dynamics. And you spoke about how Eddie Howe could line up in a 4-4-2, but I want to see more of Isaac. To be honest, when I look at his underlying data in the past before his Premier League days, it's it's okay, right? I'm not very impressed. So yeah, I want to see a bit more of him. I think there is great value in Pope and Trippier, and I want to keep that third Newcastle spot open where I also fancy a triple up. Like if you are comfortable with a double up, why not go Fabian Schär, who has a goal in him? We've seen it in the past. He can score a header. He can score a long ranger. I think two Newcastle for me and no Isaac. I want to hold on to that third
And
spot
Tony?
a bit
Tony?
more.
Do you
No, I
think
don't
Tony
think.
also doesn't comes
He
close?
hates Tony.
He's been scoring. He's
I
outscored Harry Kane, I think, in terms of points, right?
I I've not looked at the points yet, but yeah, maybe I mean good thing. The other day I think he scored a hat trick. It had a
Yeah, he
penalty,
did.
a long
Yeah,
range free kick, and a
it
very
was.
XG goal. So I'm very happy that a lot of people like Tony. I don't see points coming in the future game weeks,
Yeah,
honestly.
He's outscored Harry Kane. Mitrovic is just 1 point behind Harry Kane. The only problem with me having Harry Kane is he's a great player. He's on penalties, etc., etc. But does he justify the extra 5 million? Which I don't think he does. That's the issue. So you can invest that 5 million somewhere else, and that upgrades your team much more. That is the
But
difference I see.
would that not apply to a lot of other premiums as well? For example, you take KDB
But
and you compare
would you captain Kane? I mean,
any
you are captaining Kane out of all of us with Haaland in your team. But most of us will not go against Haaland. So is it worth having a 12 million player who are not captaining next?
but then
And
are
even
you
in the next
captaining
5 game weeks, do you
KDB?
want?
Are you
But
captaining KDB then?
it's just
Because
the
he's the
second
second
premium I
premium.
want in my team.
Also,
Exactly.
another
And
also
do
another
you
thing.
see other midfielders who will provide as much as value as Kevin De Bruyne? His minutes points per start is 6.8. His his average minutes per points per minute is 13.3, which is second best in the city. City are the best attacking team in the league. So
Yep.
again, do you think
Also,
anyone
another
provides
thing
value?
is there are many
Yeah.
forwards that we can have, whereas not many midfielders are putting their hands up right now.
Yeah.
Like there is Martinelli who is consistent, and there is maybe Rashford who has been out of like in form right now, but he is currently out injured. So there are not many midfielders putting their hands up. So I would agree with Anshuman on the top three forwards of Isaac, Mitrovic, and Haaland right now. If you are on wildcard, and if you are on wildcard next week, then maybe I would consider Tony.
Tony, yeah, I agree. And next week there is a case for Tony. This week you just can't ignore the Bournemouth fixture, I think.
Yep.
And Brentford play a tough defensive side, so again that just plays against Tony. Any other
Yeah.
points fixture by fixture, guys?
I think
I
that's
think we have covered most.
yeah. I do like De Bruyne a lot, obviously, but if you're really comparing points, I think Gross has outscored him by quite some distance. So I think the fact is
6
that
points,
it's a good
8
option.
points.
Yeah. So past points was which
Also, one
that's
thing,
what we are looking at.
one thing we missed, one thing we missed is on wildcard. Would you have a West Ham asset like a
Yeah,
Bowen or a
I was just gonna
Paqueta?
about that. Bowen, Zaha, and Madison. We guys just totally skip that because I don't
Yep.
have him. Do you consider Bowen as an option? Do you consider? I mean, Madison we discussed, yes, but do you consider specifically Bowen as an option?
No, I think Paqueta would be a better option at that price point because Bowen's stat this year, like he has a XGI per 90 of 0.21, which is like it's not, to put it bluntly, not very good. So I would prefer a punt on a Paqueta, who is a 6 million points. Sorry if I have butchered the pronunciation, but he is a 6 million midfielder who is a like you don't mind if you're 6 million mid blanks, but if you're 8.1 or whatever Bowen is right now blank, it will be a huge hit when the other midfielders in that price point, Foden or Luis Diaz, can go big in any game week. So I think I prefer Paqueta to a Bowen.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't like Bowen at all. I think Madison is fine, but I do like the look of Zaha. I think Anshuman spoke about him before. Uh, very good potential. He's on penalties as well. Not very good at penalties. I'm not sure why he's on penalties, but the fact that he takes penalties is I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But yeah, it's a route to extra points. Very central to everything that Crystal Palace does as a unit. Very good price. I like Zaha. Maybe Madison. Definitely not Bowen.
Same, I'm on the same boat. I don't think Bowen, even Paqueta, how you pronounce his name, I don't think he's an option because again, it's the fact that West Ham are not attacking as much as they should. So unless and until I see something, I wouldn't be going there. And if they have decent fixtures after in the next two, Everton and Wolves. They have better fixtures than
Yeah.
Fulham and Southampton, I think. So if there's a situation, you can sell Martinelli before his blank to Paqueta and then get Martinelli back if you have the free transfers available. So that's an option
Uh,
if you want to keep that
I
open.
think actually, if you start with a West Ham asset right now, you have Everton, Wolves, and Fulham, and sorry, Everton and Wolves. And if it does not work out, you can easily transition to a Zaha in game week 10 when he has Leeds United. Because this week Zaha has a blank, and in game week 9 he has Chelsea, who, despite their struggles right now, you would expect Potter to have an improvement in their structure with almost a month's gap to the next fixture.
But I think I wouldn't mind playing Emerson over Bowen, and I
Yeah,
think Emerson could outscore Bowen. So I mean that's the thought behind it.
correct.
I don't even rate their defense. I think as a unit, they are not just the same team that we saw last year. Yeah, but with Emerson, it's just the fact that they could potentially, be a close game, get a 0-0 or a 1-0 out of it. And as long as you get the points, it's fine. But yeah, generally not too keen on West Ham as a team this year.
Yeah.
Also, do you think Emerson is the best 2.0 because he has the threat of Cresswell? Or do you think Nico Williams is a better option?
Neko. If you want to play safe, Neko is still the better option. I think Patterson did make a case for himself, but Pickford is out, so can't go there. Otherwise, I still go Neko because he's safe, he's starting, and he's more attacking than the other two options. And that is why Neko. Emerson is a rotation risk. He could be
Yeah.
dropped.
I wish Neko was playing for a better team. That would have been a lot better. But yeah,
Yeah.
plays for a rubbish defense. But the fact is that he's nailed. He's at least going to get you start. And if you get lucky some week, he's coming off your bench, 8-9 points. Just take it and run.
Albeit they did sign Aurier, so he could have some sort of a risk now.
Is
Yeah,
Aurier
I
a good
think
footballer anymore? I don't think so.
Hmm?
I think is Aurier even good anymore at
Yeah,
football?
but he has competition right now, whereas he was a
yeah,
monopoly at
earlier
that
he didn't.
position before.
Earlier they didn't. Yeah. But I think Aurier is the backup. I think Neko also might have something on his clause. Liverpool wouldn't send their player like that in terms of minutes played in the Premier League or game started. So I think Neko is pretty much safe in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Okay, I think we covered enough. Anything
yep,
last thoughts, any guys?
captaincy, Haaland, and
Haaland. I think
Yeah,
Kane for Z.
yeah. I'll
he's
be
a
under the
machine. Don't overthink it.
I'll be under the microscope again. I remember the last time when I mentioned that I've taken Trent out. There was a roast session, but yeah, I had the last laugh. So come on, let's do the Harry Kane.
We were sad
Okay,
with the
we'll see.
17 pointer.
I'm more interested in seeing Diaz versus Brighton, where you don't want him, and Rashford against City. I'm more interested in that.
Yes, we will pick that up in the future weeks. Something for us to look forward to. But yeah, that's it for now. And if you've tuned in and you've liked what we've covered, and there's a lot more to come in the future as well. Subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, hit that bell icon, and stay tuned for more. Until next time, it's a bye for now.
Cheers, guys. Bye.